Hello and welcome to the Phoenix 5 Info Show. I'm your host, Lieutenant Vince Lewis, coming to you once again from Phoenix Police Headquarters in beautiful downtown Phoenix, joined once again by my co-host, PIO Sgt. Rob Scherer. Welcome back to the show.
Boss. Appreciate it.
You doing all right?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day here is a good day.
You look dressed, prepped, ready for work?
I am. Just got here. Look good. Halfway-ish.
Oh, I appreciate it.
We're ready to go. Yeah.
Well, I want to welcome a very special guest, our newest police administrator. This is the civilian equivalent of a commander. So we have, a rank and file structure over here. But the good thing about our guest today is that she is over top of the Communications Bureau, which houses our communications operators, 911 dispatch and call takers and so forth. But the week of April, there's this third week of April, is Telecommunications Week, or Telecommunicators Week. I'm going to let our guest explain who that is, but let me introduce her. Welcome, Police Administrator Alexandra Edwards. Can I call you Allie?
Yes, you can.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, explain to us TCC Week.
So Telecommunicators Week, it's a big week every April for our telecommunicators, and it's just where we say thank you for all the hard work that they do every single day. We like to say they are the first of the first responders because we take the calls, and this is just our week to give back to them, to let them have some fun, let them dress down. We try to do food for them every single day and do some fun prizes, fun raffles throughout the week, and get them a gift and just say thank you. So it's really our week.
With your career, how long have you been on with the City of Phoenix Police Department?
I've been here 17 years.
17.
Yes.
How long have you been involved with our Communications Bureau up till this point? Obviously, you're in the big seat now running the show, but what's your career leading up to this point?
17 years. Yeah, I started young in communications. I learned both 911 and radio at the exact same time, which was a little pilot they were doing. And then went solo, became a trainer, went into our training department, so help with recruiting and training our new employees, and then promoted to supervisor, went to our admin supervisor, which is the equivalent of like an admin sergeant, and then went to manager, and now I'm here. So I've really got to see every single part of the Bureau.
So tell us about your earliest experience, what you remember going through the training and kind of stepping into the role. And I'm not sure what you did before that, but how was that transition going from pre-communications to communications operator?
Yeah, so I went to school. So I went right from school to here and then finished my school and then got my master's in this as well, or while I was working here. But it was eye-opening to me. So just going from, college where you're kind of like in a bubble to all of a sudden your first call is someone being stabbed with a pool cue and you're like, oh my gosh, can I do this? But we give our people great training in order to be able to handle those type of calls. So it was very eye-opening, but it's been very exciting.
Yeah, from our perspective, I think we get in as law enforcement, we go out there, and you never really, I think you got to go through a couple shifts where you understand the importance of our dispatchers. Like for our officers out on the street, and really anybody that jumps on a radio at any time accidentally, for us, if we do it ever, but the importance of them and that lifeline that they give us, the good ones are incredible, and even the not so good ones or the young ones are wildly needed at all times for us. When you went through some of that stuff, I can't fathom starting something and not seeing the finish. How did you personally, or how do you guys train, or how do you guys, instill this knowledge that, hey, you're going to start this, but you may not know the full end of this. You will at some point, but you're moving on to the next call. Like, that's wild to me in my head. How do you guys get through something like that?
You separate it, but I think you make friends with people in the field, or like you have family that's in the field, so they're able to fill in that gaps. And you guys are great because whenever we would call, or whenever I would call and be like, hey, you got to tell me what happened at the end of this call because I can't go home and like think about it. You guys were always there like filling in those gaps for us. So I think it's compartmentalizing, but knowing that you can reach out if you need resolution with some type of call, because your imagination can be a lot worse at it's actually what you guys see.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Tell us about the anatomy of a 911 call, or take us from crime on the street and the observer and the witness and the caller to police officers arriving on scene. What happens in the background?
So it's two separate functions. So we have the 911 call and the 911 operator. So you're taking that call, you answer like 911, where is your emergency? And they tell you when they start telling you what's going on. So you enter that into CAD. That call.
That's the computer-aided dispatch?
Yep, that's our computer-aided dispatch. So we enter that into CAD. If it's a hot call, you're staying on the phone with that person until PD is on scene. And so then the dispatcher on the other side is working that call.
Different person.
Different person, completely different person. You're able to communicate through messages, so if questions need to be asked, but then the call goes over and you guys respond, and we're communicating with PD over the radio and asking them questions, or if it's a hot call, we're just relaying the information as it comes in. And then once you guys are on scene, and if a call gets cleared back or if it's a priority 2, that's it. We're done with that point. So we don't get to see that tail end of the investigation and everything that happens. We just move on to the next call.
Let's talk about, because obviously we're in need of dispatchers, we're in need of everybody in this department, but dispatchers and communicators, part of this telecommunication week, those assets in our department are needed like crazy. Let's talk about something that I think is very important, what sells our job. I would imagine you guys have the same thing, is that kind of family atmosphere when we jump on the street, and even, in PAB, we have that family atmosphere, and it helps us get through a lot. Talk about some of that's on your guys' floor and in your guys' buildings, as you go through dispatchers and some of those 911 operators, that family atmosphere that kind of sells this job that may be different than some others.
Yeah, it definitely is a family up there, because even unless you have family that's in police, no one understands except for your coworkers what you're going through on a day. So the people that you go through class with really become your second family, because you're with them 40 hours plus a week. And that's why we want to get back during Telecom Week, and we want to put that family atmosphere into it, because it really is. Like, we train you, and once you become a trainer, you're like, oh, look, it's my little baby. And then you're like, oh, wait, now, like, I'm a grandma. Like, there's my little duckling. Like, you build that legacy, which is really weird, but it connects you back to everything. And up there on the floor, that's really important, because when you go through the hard calls, you know who to reach out to and be like, hey, I just need to talk for a second and just help me get through this and then get back on the floor. So
yeah, so 17 years in the communications. Tell us, we're talking with the newest police administrator over Communications Bureau, Ali Edwards. Tell us about your experience, the evolution of employee assistance when it comes to this particular bureau, because what we understand about the job, the nature of law enforcement, both on the communication side and the response side, secondary trauma is a real thing that we deal with. You folks don't get to see, but you hear and experience those things vicariously, and it does affect you. How much better are we at addressing that issue in the Communications Bureau, in your experience? How have we evolved?
So much better, because I know when I started in the beginning, it was, who do I reach out to about this? And luckily I had family, so I could reach out to my family and they'd be like, hey, like, this is how to get through it. And throughout that 17 years, EAU has come in, CISM has come in and realized—
That's the Employee Assistance Unit, and the CISM is—
Critical Incident Stress Management.
Yes. Okay. They've really come in and realized that we do get the trauma, and we get that secondary trauma, and sometimes even the first, because we're the ones that pick up the call when that person's screaming. And so maybe by the time that PD gets there, we've gotten them calmed down, but we've dealt with it from the beginning. So there's a lot more resources. They come and check on us every time there's an officer-involved emergency. We are part of that group, and I know our bureau feels that it's really important, and when we've created that really good relationship with them. I'm actually excited to say we're sending our first, well, not our first, it was a long time ago that someone else went, but one of our dispatchers is going to Police Week for working the Coolidges.
Mm-hmm. Zane Coolidge, our fallen officer that we lost in September of last year.
Yeah, and his squad actually reached out to her and was like, hey, are you going to this? So I think even officers are realizing the importance of how this affects them, but it also affects us, because we're there every step of the way. We might not be on scene, but we are there every step of the way during those incidents. So I'm really proud to be sending her, and I'm really proud that the department's sending her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what an awesome story, because I'll tell you, again, you learn this when you get on the job as an officer, but that ends up being one of your better friends. You hear their voice, and you get to know their voices, and you're like, oh, okay, that's so-and-so. I'm good today. Okay, I don't recognize that one. Let me figure out who that is, because you understand how important they are in the whole machine. Like you said, you're the first of the first responders. You're the one that answers the phone saying, hey, what help do you need? Let me get you what you need. Let's talk about, if someone wants to be a dispatcher, someone wants to be part of your team, what is that training like? What's the whole process? Like, I know it's lengthy, it's wild to me, but it's understood, because I go down and see some of your desks, and we deal with a monitor, because we are very I need one thing to focus on.
Mhm.
You guys have like 7 TVs around you,
Yeah.
and like 45 keyboards. It is wild to me. Talk about some of the training that goes in to make someone comfortable in that seat to manage what you guys do and do what you guys have to do.
Yeah, all we say is you really just need a customer service background, just to be able to know how to talk to people, be able to comfortable talking to people. Once you get into our training, it's 3 weeks of 911 training where you're in a classroom, you're starting to learn about the department, our policies and our procedures. And then you have 9 weeks of on-the-floor training with a trainer, just in 911 training, to make sure that you can handle all different types of calls. It could be on either first, second, or third shift because we are 24/7. Then you have a little break before you go into radio training, which is 2 weeks in classroom, back in classroom, learning more of the radio and the logistics that come with that. And then you have 19 weeks of radio training where you are sitting every single precinct, every single frequency, and just learning how to work the radio and how to control the radio.
You must go home exhausted.
Yes, very tired. There's many nights, like when I was in training, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
But because just your mind is going and you just have to be on top of it. There's no pause button is what we like to say. It's literally you just got to go, go, go. And if you have a question, we'll get there in a second, but you got to keep going. It's fast, it's fun.
So with police officers, when we do the recruiting out there, the single most characteristic that I think we're looking for is just that spirit of service. We want to help people. What is the single most useful or good quality that an applicant for communications should bring or have or possess?
I think it's the same. I think it's that spirit of service because our customers are our citizens and we are helping them on their worst day. Not everybody calls 911. Not everybody calls Crime Stop because their house got broken into and that's an emergency to them. And so it's that spirit of service and wanting to help people and wanting to help people on their worst day and get them the help that they need, whether that's just a report or it's getting officers there immediately.
So we've got a couple of minutes left. Where are we going now in the future? So we're all excited for the new police headquarters that's going up at First Avenue and Washington. You guys are going to have 2 whole floors, 3 floors dedicated to the Communications Bureau. You excited?
Super excited. I've been over there a couple times. It looks awesome. We're going to have a whole radio floor, a 911 floor, and then a whole training floor, admin type floor. It looks incredible. Technology is new. Our radios are new. We're about to transition to, it's called Next Gen 911, which is going to put our phone system into the future. So eventually with that, we'll be possibly able to see video from citizens that come in. Our text is going to be a lot better. So there's
text to 911?
Text to 911. Yes, you can text 911 if you don't know, and get a live person as we're working another phone call. But there's a lot of good technology that's coming into that building.
Well, great. I want to thank our newest police administrator over the Communications Bureau, Alexandra Edwards, for joining us on the show. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Rob, for joining me once again.
Thank you, boss.
I want to thank the crew for producing, but mostly I want to thank the telecommunicators out there. Thank you for what you do. You're our lifeline to each other, and we appreciate the work that you put in. We're glad that you're part of the family. I want to remind the audience that you too can help solve crime in your community by sending tips to Silent Witness. Visit silentwitness.org and call 480-WITNESS. We are hiring both sworn and telecommunicators. Go to joinphxpd.com. Follow us on all social media platforms. And remember, we're all in this together.